Hey, folks, how's it going? Why can't they say it, man? Why can't they just say the fucking word? I don't understand. I don't. It's amazing. And you know what word I'm talking about. You know, you guys get it. Anyway, we're gonna get into that in a second. Thanks for being here, everybody. Hi, Katie. Hi, Patchouli Diver. Hi, James McD, all the way from Australia. Thanks for coming. Thanks for showing up, James. So I'm gonna do something you should never do, which is I'm gonna show a video and pick apart a video by someone who I'm not trying to say they suck, which I feel like nowadays, because everything, it's all the clickbait culture, everything's got to be Lee Camp destroyed, yeah, such and such, or so and so was torn apart by Rick. Everybody wants to start some sort of feud or something. This is not that. I'm gonna show you a video of that Russell Brand just put out the other day, and I am gonna pick it apart, but I'm not saying Russell Brand sucks. I think he does a lot of good stuff. I think in the past he's done good stuff. I'm not trying to say because we live in this binary world, right? Where it's got to be. You can't just be like, I think this video could have been a little better if you'd added A, B, and C. Like, you can't do that. It's got to be. It's got to be either Lee Camp says Russell Brand is the best ever, or Lee Camp says Russell Brand should die of some unknown disease immediately. Like, those are the options. So that's what you get. That's it. That's all you can have. And I'm sorry for the open shirt. It's hot as fuck. So I have no choice. All right. This little triangle of air right here is keeping me sane. Barely keeping me sane. So I don't care if you're not into it. It's too hot. And speaking of a guy who likes to show a lot of chest, Russell Brand, God bless him. So I'm going to show something of his, and many of you may be Russell Brand fans. I'm not, I'm not trying to say he's a load of shit or he's a snake oil salesman. There are plenty of people I could say that for. You know, if I were to play a fucking Tucker Carlson clip or an Alex Jones clip, I would be like, this guy's a fucking snake oil piece of shit. But I'm not doing that here. And it's a clip where he has on one of my favorite journalists, Matt Taibbi. So again, I'm not saying either of those two are shit, but I want to make a point here that I think is really important. And I think it's more important to talk about something like this than to play a clip of someone who's just a fucking piece of human garbage like an Alex Jones or whatever. I think it's more important to highlight what we should be learning from these types of clips. I think that's important. So that's what I'm about to do. I'm also live on Rockfan and all these other platforms. And about halfway through this, and we're gonna spend most of the show on this, but trust me, you're gonna appreciate it. You're gonna like it. You're gonna be glad we did. Yeah. So most of the streams, by the way, will end about halfway through, and we'll keep going on rumble.com/Lee Camp. So here is and I'm gonna play these clips at like 1.4, 1.5 speed so that we can spend all day on them. And it doesn't take forever. So that's what's going on. It's not that Russell Brand was just coked up that day. It was like it's I'm gonna play a little faster than normal. And no, I can't explain why he's dressed like the Wicked Witch of the West in this particular video. But I gotta say, if I had Russell Brand money, I would also. There's a certain level of money and fame where you get to a point you could just dress however the fuck you would. Like, you're almost required to just go nuts. You have to, and it gets crazier and crazier the bigger and bigger you get. Russell Brand's at the Wicked Witch of the West level. And if you get to like Michael Jackson level, you got fucking gold epaulets and things, and you got shit tied into your hair, and you one glove, and there's different levels, and you can see which one he's at. And if I look, like I said, if I'd been married to Katy Perry, I'd dress like that too. So I I appreciate it. But anyway, so to begin with, this video is titled "The Great Reset is Real," and I've done a video before on the Great Reset, and to give you the quick rundown without all of the details. For those of you who don't know, the Great Reset is a program coming out of Davos, World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab. These are the richest people in the world getting together, and this is a very important point, on camera saying what they're going to do to us. But I think the on-camera thing is important because anything they're saying on camera is not really the real shit you got to worry about. That's yes, it's not something you should ignore, but it's, if you really want to get to the heart of shit, it's not the things they're giving TED Talks about. These motherfuckers, they don't give TED Talks about how they're going to fuck you. They give TED Talks about things they want you to know. So I think that's really an important point here. Anyway, but that's not to say the Great Reset isn't bothersome. It's just that, and this is the point I'll keep coming back to, the tenets of the Great Reset. One is like increased mass surveillance. Another is that social behavior scores can start influencing your day-to-day lives. If you socially behave wrong online, they can use that against you and stop you from doing things in your day-to-day life. Another one is you will own fewer things. It says, their tagline is you'll own nothing and be happier than you ever were. And those are some of the big tenets of this Great Reset. And my point in the video I did before is it's all happening. It's been happening for years. Years. How many people fucking lease their car, lease their house, lease all this shit? How many people are in debt, owe their stuff? How many people are at risk of being evicted or having their car repoed? People don't own half their shit already. We're already there. Mass surveillance, yeah, that'll be the day. Could you imagine them mass surveilling people? Oh, God, I hope that never happens. It's fucking here, man. It was here way before the Great Reset. We've been talking about it for years. And then social behavior score. Yeah, I'm not saying any of these things couldn't get worse, but you don't think that already exists? They're already checking. They can check your social media when you try and come through the border. They fucking, I'm censored on half these goddamn platforms for being anti-war and anti-imperialist. How about credit scores? Just a credit score can stop you from getting a house, an apartment, a job, all these things get in the way. So social behavior scores, yeah, we've been doing that. Okay, they've just been doing it differently for so many years. What is recommendations from top level schools? Those are social behavior scores too. Is he one of us? Is he one of the oligarchy? Is he one of the ruling class? Let me call up these other people from the ruling class and find out whether they like him or her. Anyway, all of these things that are listed in the Great Reset, it's like shit we've been fighting against for years. And then you have some people going, they're thinking about doing it. They're going to do this soon. And I'm like, where have they fucking been, man? Where have they been during all this? Anyway, but beyond just that, well, let's just get into it. Yeah, let's just get into it. And if you can't hear well or anything, let me know.
Barack Obama in 2000. Wait.
Sorry. It starts with wait. I skipped ahead.
When did the Great Reset begin? Could it have been under Barack Obama in 2008?
Okay. The reason I paused there is because these are the clickbait title and I'm not above clickbait titles either, so I don't fault him for that really. But he brings on Matt Taibbi, great journalist. Matt Taibbi had some of my favorite books. The Divide is amazing. Griftopia is amazing. Matt Taibbi, great journalist. In his interview with Matt Taibbi, there's no point in it that Matt Taibbi goes, yep, Great Reset is real. In fact, the Great Reset, the words Great Reset are not even said in the entire interview with Matt Taibbi. So it's like he did. It's like Russell Brand. And by the way, I would bet my money that Russell Brand doesn't actually title his videos, maybe doesn't come up with topics. He does talk about producers, and may not even come up with that intro. So whoever it is that's titling his video probably saw the interview with Matt Taibbi and was like, well, Matt Taibbi was giving these kind of nuanced, little more, informed but factual, kind of bits of this. And that doesn't make for something that grabs you. It doesn't grab you enough. So we're going to title this something that Matt Taibbi didn't actually even talk about. Like in the interview, as you'll see, Matt Taibbi never says the words Great Reset. And like they bring up some areas of it. But anyway. All right, here we go.
Hello there, you 5.8 million awakening wonders, you great souls, part of the unitary beauty that underscores all reality. Thank you for joining me on this video. Thank you for joining me on this quest. Thank you for educating me on the truth as you understand it. I will do my best to reciprocate. Today we're talking about the Great Reset.
Now, I love that he's kind of putting out love vibes, but I don't know that any of that is... I don't know that much of that is true. I mean, how many of it? Okay, so he's got a huge following. It gets millions of comments. How many of them do you think he's really reading? I mean, how much is he getting educated by these comments? I'm being a little too cynical. Whatever. Let's take him at his word. Let's take him at his word. He reads all the comments and he has been educated by his viewers. I'll be a little cynical.
And how this project came about, how people's trust in democracy, particularly in the United States, has been eroded ever since the 2008 financial crash, how the people were...
Okay. That has got to be one of the funniest statements I've ever heard. Democracy in the United States has been eroded since 2008? Is that it? Since 2008. This is a country where the moment they wrote it into the Constitution, all men are created. Actually, that's Declaration of Independence. But the moment they wrote, I think I have that right. Either way, Declaration of Independence, Constitution, whatever. The moment they wrote in the Declaration of Independence, all men are created equal. They meant 6% of the population. 6% white landowning males. So what was that about this democracy that's just been eroded recently? Please tell me how amazing American democracy was until 2008. And here's the thing, saying things like that, it's not, yes, it's a little ignorant, but it actually has the opposite of impact of what I think, if to give him the benefit of the doubt, again, to not be so cynical, what the opposite impact of what he's trying to do, which is inform people, which is teach people how this world works, how our country works. Since 2008, our democracy has been, what? It wasn't even that many years ago that black people got the right to vote. Black women got the right to vote. Like, and yet 2008, Obama, that's when this bad stuff started. Are you fucking kidding me? I would challenge anyone to point out how it got that much worse under Obama. Obama was a shit show, and Obama continued all of that stuff, all of the destruction of democracy, the surveillance, the assault on immigrants, the prison population, the endless wars. Obama continued it all. But was it going well under Bush? I don't understand why you pick that year as when they started to erode democracy. Anyway.
Trade under the Barack Obama administration, an administration for which many people, and I include myself in this, felt a great deal of what we now have to acknowledge was cockeyed optimism. The Great Reset is understood to be a project that is about...
Okay, so and that, by the way, that part about Obama is accurate. I had optimism in 2008 for Obama as well. I was not informed enough to understand how this system really worked at the true heart of it. And I quickly learned 2009. I was like, all right, I'm done with fucking Obama. And it educated me about the system. So I have no qualms with him saying that part, but you notice he's getting to really critical problems, flaws with the American system, with the, in many ways also the British system, with the way our world is functioning right now. And I'm just checking the comments to make sure everybody can hear the video all right, and I'm not just ranting without the audio coming across well. But and he's pivoting it to the Great Reset. Now, I'm not saying Russell Brand awful, evil. He's bought out by World Economic Forum. No, I'm not saying any of that. I think he or a producer telling him how to cover these things is thinking that the Great Reset is the real problem. And it gets a lot of clicks, right? Saying Great Reset, putting it in your titles, gets loads of click. Everyone all in for it. Yeah, let's talk about this. Oh my God, they're going to get us. Great Reset. People love it. And someone I see in the comment thread already is doing exactly what I said I'm not doing. They're like, Lee's hating on Brand. No, I'm revealing truth. And if you're upset that revealing that is coming from this video, then I'm sorry, you're not actually hearing what I'm saying. I don't think Brand is a bad person. Anyway, the fact that they're making it all about the Great Reset is fucking infuriating. Because, and I don't just mean Brand, there's others that are also making it a lot on the right wing, especially Republicans, libertarians, that are making it all about the Great Reset. And part of the reason I find that so fucking infuriating is because you know what it's really all about? Capitalism. The word they can't say. The word, the capitalism. And for those of you who are getting nervous right now and you go, oh, I can't listen to this. If you were brave and you really wanted to understand this and you really believe so much in capitalism that whatever I say isn't going to matter, then keep listening. Then fucking debate everything I have to say. Hang in there. Don't just turn it off because it said something you don't like, because it is something that you don't agree with. But capitalism is the idea of infinite growth on a finite planet. All right. We will inevitably run out of resources. If it wasn't happening now, it happened 100 years from now. But here we are. It is profit over all else. It is profit at the expense of our fucking globe. And it is profit at the expense, of course, of democracy. There is no interest for the capitalist to support democracy, to support you really having a vote. So that's how they rig. That's why they rig all these primaries and everything else to keep themselves in power. And so for Brand and others to switch it and make it about just the Great Reset, a recent World Economic Forum project, is infuriating. Say the word capitalism. Fucking say it. Say the fucking word. Why are they so scared of it? It's amazing. It amazes me. But all right, let's keep going.
Centralizing and concretizing global power.
I don't know. It's concretizing to concretify. I don't know if concretizing is a word, but I like it. I'll go with it. Yeah, centralizing power. That they've been. What do you, even outside, even if you withdraw just from the capitalism discussion, what do you think the U.S. has been doing for fucking decades? How many countries have we couped and put in puppet governments? How much economic power have we solidified and concretized because of the petrodollar, which we switched to in the 1970s? Like, the idea that yesterday America started to solidify our global power along with other oligarchs around the world. What? So, again, it's not that the Great Reset is not a thing. It's a thing, but it's everything they've been doing for fucking decades.
Centralized power. Institutions such as the WHO, WEF, events like Davos are assumed to be the kind of public face of these sometimes presumably nefarious organizations. Now, we're not interested in conspiracy theories.
Now, I have no problem with that, but those things have existed long before the Great Reset, right? World Economic Forum, and the other organizations, WHO, I think has been more captured recently, but and IMF, World Bank, two organizations he didn't even say in his list, two of the most powerful organizations in the world that have made sure to solidify the exact power he's talking about in the hands of a tiny number of oligarchs. I mean, this shit has been going on for decades, man. I don't know if it's that he's not into history or the others are not, or it's just that talking about the Great Reset gets clicks. Talking about capitalism does not get clicks, okay? People, and you know, it's my, I know I mentioned this anecdote, whatever you call it, this example. I mention it all the time because I think it's so important. But capitalism is the fish coming up to the other fish and saying, how do you like the water today? And the other fish says, what's water? We're in it. So many people get disturbed when they just hear criticism of it because they're living in it and they go, I like the thing I'm living in. It's like air. It's like criticizing air to a lot of people. And they go, I like breathing. And it's like, well, you think capitalism, which industrial capitalism has only been around for a couple of 100 years, and you think that's the best economic system we could ever come up with, even though it's destroying the planet, even outside of climate change, it's destroying the planet. All the forests are being knocked down. All the animals are being killed. All the water's being polluted. There's an article right now, a report right now about how rainwater on the world, anywhere in the world, in the fucking Arctic, where there's nobody there but a fucking tiny little mite or whatever bacteria, a tetragrade, is that what it's called? Whatever those things are called, that can live in fucking negative 100 degrees Celsius. All those, like even in the Arctic, they've found rainwater is not drinkable anywhere. It has forever chemicals in it everywhere. So this is the economic system that we came up with a couple hundred years ago is the only way to model the world, even though it destroys everything. And then you have people acting like the Great Reset is the only bad thing going on, but Great Reset gets clicks. Talking about capitalism does it, okay? Gets viewers. So if you know, because a nefarious new conspiracy gets everybody on board. A nefarious, decades old, generations old conspiracy, boring to people. Boring and disturbing because they're in the water and they're like, why is he insulting water? I don't understand. Why? But water's how we live. He's insulting the thing we breathe. And what? You can't insult the water. I mean, that's what it is. But it's like, say the word. Say the fucking word capitalism. Any of these people.
But we want to know about conspiracy facts. We want to know if certain events are taking place that allow already powerful institutions, corporations, government, private, public organizations to become more powerful at whose expense? Your expense.
Yep, that's all true. We want to know that. He's right. And what is that called? That's fucking capitalism. To become more powerful at your expense. We live in a world where the best model that people think we've come up with is wage slavery, in which you're born free for a couple of minutes until you learn to speak the language. And then you spend the rest of your life working 5 days, if you're lucky, a week, trying to rent back your weekends from your corporate rulers. That's the best system we came up with. You work 5/7 of your life, 5 days a week, if you're lucky, again, to rent back the 2 days on the weekend from your corporate overlords. And how long's that been going on? This has only started with the Great Reset. Okay, I'm sorry. This just started yesterday. I wasn't aware of this. I thought this has been going on for years. But no, just yesterday, just started. Oh shit. They're doing it. They just started solidifying power. Man.
How are we ever going to arrest that? If there is a project that has the support of the most powerful individuals and institutions in the world, what's the only way that we're ever going to stop them?
What is that project called? Everybody say it with me. Capitalism. It's the fucking. So I don't know if I've coined this term, but I haven't heard anyone else say it. It's the gravity of capitalism. There are countries that are not as bad as the United States in terms of how capitalism is gutting the world, right? Not as bad as Brazil or something, where capitalism is gutting the world. But But the better ones on the list, the Swedens and the Finlands and stuff, the gravity of capitalism is doing the same thing to them, right? Sweden privatizing their rail system, chopping down all their forests and selling it, slowly privatizing, working on privatizing their healthcare. They privatized their dental several years back. England has healthcare, right? What are they doing right now? Working on privatizing it, working on selling it off. Everywhere that capitalism. Anyway, I've gone through that before, but let's keep going.
Tell me now, what's the only way we're ever going to stop him? In this conversation with Matt Taibbi, we got into it. Matt Taibbi's a legit journalist. He's not interested in talking about...
All right. Let's skip to Matt Taibbi.
Let me know what you think in the comments.
Does this suggest that when people have ideas and a sense that there is a sort of there are a set of globalist entities that have a kind of loose project to disempower and disenfranchise ordinary people in very real...
That's called capitalism again. In case anybody was wondering what the word is.
And sometimes explicit ways, i.e. the WEF's now famous mantra, you will own nothing and you will be happy. When people see that play out, when they...
He keeps talking about the explicit ways, these speeches, you will own nothing, the motto, you will own nothing and be happy. Does it ever occur to him or others, why would they say this publicly? The ruling elite are perfectly capable of talking behind closed doors, right? It's my favorite thing when they point to a video and they go, yes, I have, sorry, someone in the comments. Yes, I have these guys speeded up. I have it at 1.5 speed. I said that at the beginning of the thing because now it's not cocaine. I said at the beginning, I'm playing this fast forward because I'm trying to get through, it's a 13-minute video. I want to get through most of it and we're running out of time. So yes, it is speeded up. But why does it not occur to any of these people? Why do you think they're saying it publicly? Now, if it were leaked, like WikiLeaks did, the stuff that's leaked, that's the truth. That's the reality. When you get that shit leaked, whole different world. Now, of course, it depends on what the leak is, who they're talking to and things like that. But anyway.
See that, centralized hedge funded property development firms are acquiring property. When they see that the agriculture...
Property development firms are acquiring property. What the fuck is that called? It's fucking capitalism. Of course, they're buying up the shit so that they can exploit you more. Say the fucking word. Anyway.
From Sri Lanka to the Netherlands is being bankrupted by top-down edicts to change their farming practices in ways that are presented as being ecologically friendly. But close examination reveals that, by his fruits shall thee know him. If the result of an edict...
Oh, top-down method of buying up farms, buying up agriculture. You know what existed long before the Great Reset? Monsanto. What was their fucking game plan? Well, one of it was GMO seeds that die off so that the people have to keep going back to Monsanto to buy more seeds. So they were destroying, bankrupting farmers, caused hundreds of thousands in India farmers to kill themselves. They were bankrupting them in order to force them to buy their seeds, which many of them couldn't afford. That was Great Reset? Fucking 20 years before the Great Reset was ever mentioned? No, it's been going on for years.
Is it bankrupt farmers allowing centralized agricultural interests to acquire land cheaply? Then isn't it possible, likely even, that was always the intention? And there's more and more people, I've noticed this from our audience who, I grow increasingly enamored with, that they are willing to see the connections between what's happening in Sri Lanka, what's happening in the Netherlands, what happened in Canada with the trucker movement. The ordinary people have been pushed to the degree where they are, whether it's...
Now, he's connecting a lot of things here that again, at their core, are all connected under capitalism, not under the Great Reset. I mean, like, poor people around the world being exploited, being destroyed, like being gutted. Is this something new? Like the fucking sweatshop workers in Bangladesh. How long's that been going on? People getting paid 5 cents a day to make our shirts. How long's that been going on? The Great Reset. These people started talking about the Great Reset, 5 years ago? Less? 3 years ago? And And honestly, and I think here's to come up with a new conspiracy that I am saying many conspiracies there are, as Russell Brand said earlier, many conspiracies there are facts for, which makes them just straight up conspiracy. This is a theory, which I do not have a fact for, but it wouldn't surprise me. Why are they saying the Great Reset publicly? Because it actually gives an easy straw man to point the finger at for all of the things that capitalism's actually doing. So the ruling elite, the ruling class is this tiny subsect of the population that owns fucking everything. And if you look at the wealth of BlackRock and Vanguard, the trillions, $10 trillion, more than the GDP of every country except China and the US. Unbelievably what they own. Okay. And these people realize that capitalism is getting into an end game where the people are standing up. They're getting furious. They fucking want to fight back. And people are getting so furious. And so you have to have a straw man to point to and say, attack them. Don't look at us. Attack this thing. And so maybe the Great Reset is that. Maybe it's saying, hey, let's get everybody mad at the Great Reset. And then we don't have to worry. They'll start using the C word. What if they say the C word?
Willing to vote for Brexit, willing to vote for Trump, willing to believe in ideas that at this point don't seem so conspiratorial. When you see situations gaming out the same way in countries as distant and diverse as Sri Lanka and Canada, the UK, America, that it starts to seem that if there isn't a plot or a conspiracy, there is an identifiable tendency. What in your work, Matt, can you...
There is a plot and conspiracy, okay? It's called capitalism. I've gone through the history of capitalism. When in its earliest days, it was a conspiracy going back then. Merchants began to essentially have a barter system, but each of them would create their own, what we would call today coupons. They didn't call them coupons, but their own paper. You give me 5 chickens, I write down, 5 chickens, and I give you that. And then you can go and you can use that at the other little stalls, or you can use it at my stall, or whatever. They probably didn't call them stalls, kiosks, whatever, shops, whatever they had. And the ruling class, the monarchy, realized, you know what this could do? This could create independent wealth. All of a sudden, a shopkeeper who was a poor little shopkeep, all of a sudden he could get rich off of these paper, currency that he was creating on his own. So the monarchy said, you know what? We're going to make you, all of the shopkeepers, all the workers, the shopkeepers specifically, apply to get a charter, to get a patent, to have your business. And we're going to have a centralized currency. And that's why it's called capitalism, because the capitalists, the ones creating the capital, ran the system, owned the system, and it stopped a lot of the independent wealth, the people getting rich from the bottom, and all of a sudden being able to stand up and fight back, both economically and maybe physically, but economically, against the ruling feudal lords. And so it was a conspiracy from day one, and that's hundreds and hundreds of years ago. But apparently, unbeknownst to me, all this just started a few weeks ago with the Great Reset.
You point to that suggests that that's anything other than a conspiracy that makes it seem realistic, feasible.
Well, first of all, just from interviewing people on the campaign trail, I started to hear that more and more in 2012. So the first presidential election after the crash, there was suddenly a huge amount of discontent from people who would normally never think negatively about Wall Street, who were suddenly saying things like, how come they bailed out X company and I had to go into foreclosure, right?
So everything Matt Taibbi is saying there is accurate. And I like I said at the beginning of this, I love Matt Taibbi as a journalist, and the book that speaks best to what he's talking about right there is Griftopia. And fucking phenomenal book about Wall Street, about how they fucking ran away with trillions, about they brought the global economic market to its knees, and they were all bailed out. And he's talking about the palpable anger that he saw on the campaign trail with average Americans against Wall Street. Before that time, a lot of Americans, I don't know what the percentages are, but a lot of Americans would supported Wall Street. They viewed Wall Street as this American, it's they're managing the US money, and they're helping all of us, and so everything Matt's saying is great. And if you want to read a book about it, it's called Griftopia. And guess what? Griftopia, his book about it, came out long before people started talking about the Great Reset. Anyway, but even Taibbi doesn't say the word capitalism. I don't know if he's afraid to say it as well, but it is amazing that that all this criticism, which is all accurate, they can't get to the heart. It'd be like if in Star Wars, they just everybody was just walking around going, I don't know what it is, but there just feels like a force that's like bad and evil and doing things, and no one ever said Darth Vader. It was like he was walking around, he was right there, he was using his imaginary force to choke people out, and no one would ever say his name. They were just like, there's just some sort of dark force. I don't know what it is. It's the thing that just it's like it just doesn't feel good. And there was like, fucking 12 people in the corner going, it's Darth Vader. He's right there. And nobody, I don't know what it is that's just bad. And I don't know if it's, in Russell Brand's case, and I'm not saying this is some kind of insult. He's hugely famous, hugely successful, multi-millionaire. And I'm not saying that as an insult, but maybe when you get that wealth, when the system makes you that wealthy, you don't want to criticize the actual system. You don't want to actually go at the heart of the system because it's made you so wealthy. Or maybe it's just that he hasn't thought much about the history that goes much farther back than fucking 2008. 2008 was a continuation of all this shit. By the way, everybody, please hit like, hit subscribe. This is about to become a rumble.com/Lee Camp only live stream. That does not mean it's behind a paywall. It's still free. I'll go grab the link for you and put it in the comment section here. I would love for you to subscribe on Rumble. I've had to do that because my YouTube with 250,000 subscribers, all banned globally, thousands of videos banned globally. And anyway, so I'm putting the link in the comment section, but even if you can't see that link or can't click on it or whatever, just go to rumble.com/Lee Camp and you can keep watching this. The rest of this will be over there, but, yeah, so yeah, join me over there. And if you're watching on Rumble right now, it all continues exactly the same. Nothing changes. So, and please hit subscribe. Hit thumbs up. I guess on Rumble, it's called Rumble. Hit the Rumble Plus. I don't know. I hate that each one of these fucking platforms has to have their own little, give me 5 tiddly wops and give me a diggle wiggle.